Voltron Network.
Welcome to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, aka Uzuman DS, and I'm representing the blue corner of DC. And once again, in the red corner, uh, representing
We're
Marvel
back.
Comics, is my boy Ed. Yeah, we are back, man.
And for the
It's been
first
a
time, well, not really the first time, but this time we have a legit reason why we haven't put anything up for a while.
yeah, that is true. That is true, man. A very odd reason. I mean, it's like actually like becoming part of the news, as it were, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean,
Tell them.
I haven't put this up on the social media or anything like that, but I've had COVID for the last 2 weeks, and it sucks. Basically, it really did suck. Yeah, such a bizarre, bizarre feeling. Goodness me, man, never ever felt anything like that in my life. Um, just generally just odd. It's kind of like how you'd feel if you were just super paranoid all the time and just
Yeah, from
just
what you described, it sounded like you were like a crackhead or like a meth addict or something. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's basically what it's kind I would assume that's what it kind of feels like. It is literally so like on day I think it was day 3, I was kind of just like I couldn't sleep, right? And basically like about probably about 6 months ago, me and the kids came up with this idea for this like guy who basically was like he was a super villain stroke anti-hero kind of guy, right? And he's called Plate Face, right? Okay. And basically what it is, the story of this dude, right, is he's basically this kid at school, and he's got this weird condition. And basically this weird condition is that he's got super elastic skin and bones. So he gets bullied by everybody at school because what they do is they go up to him and they like punch him and stuff like that. And you could punch his face and his face would go completely flat, right? But it would then go back to normal, like about
what sort of
later
nightmare is
on.
this? Oh,
So basically his face can go completely flat like a plate, which is why he's
lucky
all the
face.
kids in school call him plate face, right? And they're like they basically like cuss him and stuff. But he basically like when he gets older, he starts to work for this company that makes robots. And this robot company, what they're basically doing is, long story short, they get all these people who have got like genetic abnormalities, and they trick them into thinking that they're making them interns in the place, right? And what they're doing is that they're like, yeah, we've got you on because you're super intelligent, we want you to help with the program and stuff. But actually what they're doing is they're using their genetic components to enhance their robots, right? Which they're going to use in military and all this kind of stuff. So this plate face guy, because he's got super elastic skin,
Mm.
they want to use that to, he's the only person in the world who's got that genetic
Like
component.
what they did in Days of Future Past with the Sentinels, giving them
Yeah,
abilities of
yeah,
mutants.
yeah. So they have him, they have this like
What's this got to do with COVID?
yeah, so anyway, so so basically, me and the kids came up with this like that weird thing like about 6 months ago. And on day 3, right, I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, shit, man, I'm actually could think like in my head like dialogue from this from
Wow.
this plate face, right? And I'm just like, oh shit. So I just sat down, I just started writing and writing and writing. Before I knew it, I'd written 20 pages of like the, the first chapter of plate face. And it's like but later on my daughter's like reading, she's like, what are you written here? And I'm like, yeah, this is the story
Just
of Plate
gibberish.
Face.
Just gibberish.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the story of Plate Face, right? And she's like, oh yeah, yeah, that that's the story that came on. So I've basically in that COVID mission somehow I've had some clarity to map out Plate Face from like start to
Oh,
finish, right? And it's so bizarre, man. I mean, day 2 when I had this, I kind of was like, I thought, okay, I'm kind of normal. I need to get back to normal now, right? Because I had 2 days where I couldn't get warm. I was just completely just feeling rough. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna get some water, stuff like that. I went downstairs, got some cough medicine and some water, right? And while I was standing at the sink, right, I started just feeling like faint, like literally, like it was instant. Like I literally felt like I was gonna drop to the floor, right?
Equilibrium, all this.
Yeah, and I went and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. So I went to the bathroom, right? Didn't even make it to like like the bathroom, and literally just fell on my back and was just lying down like this, right? And I was just saying to my wife, like, I was like, I need some water. I need some water. The only thing I could think of was that I needed some water, right? And then I'm not joking, right? This is the thing that shat me up so severely. My hand, right? My thumb went in like that, and all my fingers started contorting, and it basically I got like a spasm, right? And my hat, both of my hands spasmed like this, and I literally could not open them. It was like my whole hand was numb, right? And and the thing is, when I was 19, my dad had a stroke, right? And he's a surgeon like me, and I was shitting myself. I'm not joking. I was literally, because my dad had a stroke when I was 40, when he was 46. Um, and I was shitting myself. And I was, it was so bad, right? It was so bad that I couldn't even control my emotions. I was just like crying. I was just like saying to my wife, I can't open my hands. I can't open my hands, right?
Wow.
And it was, I literally just went and had to lie down. I just said to her, look, just get me some water with a crap load of salt in it, right? Because what I didn't realize is for the past 2 or 3 days, because I've just been lying in bed and not eating anything, all the salt had just been going out of my body. That's probably why I got the cramps, right? And I just lied down there, got the salt in, got some sugar in. Eventually, like my hands are starting to open up and the numbness is going away and stuff. And I was just like, man, this thing is effed up.
And that was
Right?
day 3.
That was day 3, right? Because after that, I was just panicking. I was panicking, right? And that I'd had 3 days where probably had a cumulative total 1 hour sleep, right? Because all I'm doing is just thinking about just anything you can think of, like when you have insomnia. Just imagine that, like 10 times that, right? And you're literally just sitting there, just lying in bed like this, like, God, I need to go sleep. I
And
need
then
to
when
go
you don't
sleep.
sleep, everything just goes crazy. Like everything just doesn't
Yeah,
feel real when you don't sleep for a couple of days. I remember that
yeah.
feeling.
It was screwed up, totally screwed up. And then afterwards, I kind of by day 4, I was getting better. Day 5, it was kind of like, okay, I'm getting to a stage now where I can actually keep some temperature in, because before I was just shivering all the time, could not keep any temperature in at all. And then I was like, I need to go and get a test. So I just went and got a test, and the test came back positive. So then they're like, oh, you got to sit at home for 10 days now. um
Yeah, you
and
thought you
just
had. I think you text like you had like laryngitis or something.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, for about a week, right? My throat was just really itchy, and like I couldn't speak for more than 2 minutes, right? Because it was just like I was just coughing and just going through just mad, right? And obviously that was just shitloads of COVID just sitting in my throat, basically. And that's why I was like, dude, there's no way I can carry on a conversation right now. But then it just, I don't know, man. It was, uh, when they're talking about variants and all that kind of stuff, I'm pretty sure that was some kind of variant. But
Yeah,
I
because you're
did,
going. People don't know you traveling right into like all various different regions of the country, like every day of the week. So
literally every day, yeah.
you
And
accumulated all these different variants all in one, all these attacks.
probably, yeah, got literally every single viral load that you can think of. And to be honest, I was being a bit of an idiot, because basically there's certain masks and stuff like that we had to wear, certain like full-on respirators and stuff, whenever we're using aerosols and things. And I just like, screw that, I can't, because I can't see properly and do a surgery when I'm wearing those. So I'm just like, I'm not wearing it. And I think I kind of thought, probably for the past 2-3 months or so, that it's never going to get me, right? And I was just like wearing a normal mask, going doing normal things, and then eventually it's just like, nah, mate, you got the cumulative effect of
That's where I'm at right now. I do have to catch myself because I do get to a point where I'm like, I don't need the mask. I'll just go and shops. Well, I'm probably immune. I've probably been exposed to it by now. It's fine.
yeah. It's basically like what they're saying is like viral load. So you can be exposed to a background amount and absolutely nothing will happen to you, but then once you get past that certain amount, your immune system just like, sod this, I'm shutting down, and or going on overdrive or whatever. So that's basically what happened. So yeah, like literally a legit excuse this time why we haven't
That
why
was
we
just the
haven't been
beginning
doing
of a
stuff.
2-week nightmare, guys. Damn, damn.
Yeah, and that really did suck, man. So that's the thing, like, so I was talking to Salim today, and he's like, yeah, bro, when the Snyder Cut comes out, we gotta go watch it together. And he goes, yeah, we'll figure out a way of like doing it and stuff
In a
like
month.
that. And I said, yeah, you do know that I had a COVID positive diagnosis, you want me in the same room as you, bloody, oh, God knows what. I'll be immune now, but God knows what happened to you guys. So, yeah,
How long does that immunity last? Because I've been hearing some people say it only lasts for a couple of months.
that's the thing. Could be 2 months, could be 6 months. The thing is, with the variant, there's the only thing that really works on it is the Pfizer. Like all the other ones are just crap. They just show no effect. And the thing is this, right? They even the vaccines that you can get at the moment, they're saying, oh, it stops severe disease. Now, what I got is considered moderate, right? That's considered moderate symptoms, right? Now, I would not want to wish that on a single person ever, right? And if I had to go, if I went and got the vaccine and got that anyway, I'd be pissed off, man, big time. So, whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully I'll get some kind of immunity going forwards. But I'm taking crazy precautions now. I'm literally going to wear like an FFP3 mask wherever the hell I go, even if it's co-op or something
Rubber
shit.
gloves.
Rubber
Sanitizer.
gloves. Yeah. I at the start of the pandemic, I used to wear gloves and everything. I used to wear gloves. I had like proper like FFP3 mask, everything, right? And then after a while, you just kind of like, sod it. It doesn't matter that much. You stop wearing the gloves, all those kind of things. Now I'm just gonna go back to it, man, because you never know. I think the supermarkets are the worst places. They're probably the biggest risk out of everything. Um, that's why I didn't put it in the main kind of chat thing, because I was kind of like, Mo's gonna shit himself once he
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
very
knows.
paranoid about this stuff.
Right, once he kind of knows that somebody, so he knows somebody has actually had this thing. So yeah, but yeah, it's all good. I'm still alive, so it's fine. It is fine.
Thank God. Now, well,
So
besides that, comic book news.
yeah, exactly.
None of
And
it.
so guys, we're going to be there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've got Wandavision, we've got Star Wars, we've got loads of stuff. There's something else as well, I
Snyder Cut trailer.
think. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so we've got a few things to kind of talk about there as well. And where should we start off with? Let's start off with some Star Wars stuff and just get that out of the way there first, because there's a lot of cool stuff, Marvel and DC, to talk about. So the one of the big Star Wars news, unfortunately, Gina Carano, aka Cara Dune, um,
Caught up
a,
to her. It caught up
just
to her,
could
man.
not keep her mouth shut, I guess.
You know what
And
happens when you do something? You do one thing, which is a little bit controversial, but when you don't get no real, or the people you work for
mm,
don't give any real blowback to it, then you kind of begin to think, oh, I can just say whatever. I must be so important. They must love me and doing what I'm doing in this role that they're not gonna say anything to me. So she just kept on going,
mm.
and then just went one tweet too far.
And Yeah, and the thing is, if you want to be controversial, because you don't shy away from controversy in this, in this podcast, she did get away with a lot of stuff, I guess, because the position that she's in. I guess if one of the male co-stars was saying things like that, I don't think he would have got away with half the kind of things.
You know what's happening now,
Um,
though?
what's that?
There's a bunch of conservatives. Actually, Trump Jr., one of the boys, the sons, is actually
Okay.
calling for Pascal to get fired because of a tweet he did a couple of years ago, where when in America they're doing the whole thing where they're rounding up Mexicans and then separating,
Yes.
and he was saying that is like what was happening to the Jews in the concentration camps. So he was doing that sort of comparison, and they're trying to say, oh, you got to go as well now, and that's turned into a whole thing.
But isn't that like a closer comparison than saying that?
But again, it all depends on what side of the fence everyone just wants to. Oh fuck, it's just a mess.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, this is the thing, right? You get put into that kind of position in, say for example with us, right? This would be our dream come true. If somebody rang up tomorrow and said, "Oh, you know what, Eds? We need you in Loki, like literally tomorrow, mate. Do you mind like turning up, right? Do you mind turning up tomorrow?" You'd be like,
"Pay me."
Yeah, and wouldn't you be like, okay, all my social media, you guys tell me what to put in there. I won't do anything. Just
be gone. I wouldn't have a Twitter account. I wouldn't have an Instagram. I would just do my job, keep my mouth shut. I don't get why they feel. It should be a prerequisite now in contracts whenever you sign on to anything. Just shut down your account, man. It's gone. Just whatever.
And I also think to myself, like, this is the thing where it comes to like, whether you're a real fan of this genre or whatever, man. Like, basically, if I got a phone call from Zack, even if Kevin Feige phoned me up and said, "Mate, you want to be in Marvel?" I'd be like, "Okay, fair enough, dude." You know what I mean? And I'm not even a Marvel fan, but because the fact that like I love comic books so much, if he said, "Yeah, be in there," I'd be like, "Safe, mate." And then at that point, it would be like, well, you'd feel so privileged to be in that position. You wouldn't want to like jeopardize any of it by being like, oh, let me, maybe I should tweet this out, because how important is that tweet in comparison to, the rest of your, of your job and stuff?
That's what I think. I think it's just a separation from reality. They just feel they're too important, that there's no repercussions for them putting their whatever goofy opinions out there in the world. Just don't.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I kind of, a lot of people have made this comparison with James Gunn, right? And James Gunn said XYZ or whatever. But you know what, James, I'll come to the defense of that, because I would say, even though at the time I kind of looked at all his stuff and thought, oh, this is really bad what he's writing.
Joke. It was bad jokes. That's what it was.
But he also got punished for it. Right, he also did get a punishment, right? And the thing is that he accepted the punishment. He accepted, like, he's like, what I've said is wrong, it's not really acceptable. I'm going to accept this punishment. And because of the fact that really, okay, nobody knows what's in somebody else's heart, right? But it seemed like he was quite quite sincere about it, right? About his kind of apology and stuff. And because of that, he hasn't really repeated that either. Later, he hasn't gone back and said those kind of things there again. It's kind of like he seems to be so happy that it's like, well, look, I could have been thrown by the wayside, but actually, like, they've given me a second chance. I'm not going to do that again. I'm doing the Suicide Squad. I'm doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I've still got all my other stuff going on, and he's kind of like, he seems to be happy about the fact that he's being given that opportunity, kind of.
That is the difference between a political opinion and just doing risque jokes. He was just doing risque jokes. It's easy just to say, I'm not going to make no more jokes. But when you have a political position, sometimes people just can't help but always feel that they have to get their opinion out there. They have to have their voice heard.
And what I don't understand is why why people think that that's like the most appropriate thing. For example, like that guy, the Hercules actor,
Oh
right?
God, Kevin something. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorbo
Kevin
or something like that.
Sorbo. That's it, Sorbo.
Yeah,
I mean, he just puts out any opinion whatsoever, right? And it's like, dude, do you want to get back into making
yeah.
films and
How's he paying his
TV
bills?
shows or
But he hasn't done
yeah,
anything since Andromeda. Like, what? Did you make that much money? Even Lucy Lawless, she went at him in it, telling him to shut up,
yeah.
and that's just sad to see. Because I did have a little soft spot in my heart for those Hercules, Avengers Hercules, and the Xena shows. So yeah, it's a pity.
It's yeah, exactly. It's sad when you kind of see stuff like that happening,
Yeah.
man. But I think with do you know I went down the rabbit hole of Gina Carano's family, right? Of finding out about her and why. Because I was thinking exactly the same thing, like with Sorbo. How the hell are you going to pay your bills, right? You live in bloody Hollywood, right? And it's like expensive area. The taxes are crazy. How are you going to
Yeah.
afford anything? So yeah, so I went down this rabbit hole of finding out about the Carano family. This family is a ridiculously loaded family, right?
Oh,
Her granddad basically owns an oil company, right? And she's like an heiress to this oil company, basically. So the granddad is literally like a billionaire guy,
oh,
right?
okay.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, if I chat shit, it doesn't really matter because I'm the heiress to a billionaire fortune or whatever. But also at the same time, it's like you can see potentially now they're saying, oh, she's positioning herself for a Congress role or Senate role or something like that, basically trying to get into those kind of political things. And I guess if you've got a billionaire oil
Yeah.
company backing you, then there's a high chance that you can kind of get into it. But it's
It
just
makes
mad.
sense
Like,
now why her and Cavill didn't last very long. Because he
yeah,
seems to
yeah.
be the purest of the purest, like legitimately the real Clark Kent in real life. And yeah, those conversations in the bedroom probably weren't.
Oh God, he was probably like, and do you know what? He never actually went and publicized anything or anything like that. Like, like we would, where we're just like this woman's batshit crazy
Yeah,
or whatever.
he's
You know what I mean?
smart. Where does he stand and what's his stance on anything? Like we just don't know. He has the sense to just be like, I'm an actor. I'm just gonna act. You don't need to know anything about my life except for the fact that I like playing video games. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, that is it. That is it, and it's like done. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, the thing is, a lot of these guys they're trying to position themselves for other stuff,
Mm.
right? It's like the funniest thing ever. And guys, I'm a DC fan. I love the character of Captain Marvel, Shazam. However, right, when when Zachary Levi does Shazam and then comes out with his with his supplement label saying, yeah, if you want to get as hench as me, then you should you should start having these supplements, right? Then at that point,
Suit. The
and,
muscle
and,
suit.
and exactly, he's like, yeah, check my transformation. I've been able to do it from these supplements, of full organic, blah blah blah. It's like, mate, okay, come on now. You you know you basically I applaud whatever build you got doing Shazam and stuff like that, but it's not like he's basically been using that Shazam as a platform to be like, okay, I can make some more money from you know from these supplements or whatever. And you kind of think, mate, was it was that a good idea or not? I don't know, but I guess he's probably sold quite a few, so more for me by that, I guess. So apart from that, the 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 only other Star Wars news that they had was a question that they basically asked Kevin Feige, who kind of who basically said there's no chance of Marvel and Star Wars crossing over. Basically,
Oh my
that
gosh,
was his.
who would ask that?
This is the thing. People ask some of the dumbest questions ever. It's like, it's kind of like, you get an interview with the guy who heads Marvel Studios. You might be thinking like spending your whole night thinking, okay, maybe
Yeah.
what about this question? What about this question? Whatever. Or Mr. Feige, can you read my script that I've
They're
I
obviously not
read.
the people asking those questions. Obviously, aren't a fan of either properties, because then anyone that really is into Marvel or really is into Star Wars would not something so goofy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think they're just saying it to get like the next soundbite to put on their website or whatever.
Yeah,
So
because what
so
we're gonna have a spin-off novel of their version of what happened when Thanos did the snap and everyone just disappeared, like
oh
in the
yeah, I
Star
mean
Wars
that would be
universe. What the hell
the
would that
exact
work?
that would be crazy because it's actually in the past, right? So
Yeah,
it's like
but yeah,
it's in the it happens in the yeah, exactly. So what you're seeing off their galaxy, because the light takes so long to reach our galaxy, is shit that happened
yeah.
like years ago. Yeah, it's just a complete minefield of doing anything like that, man. Um, but yeah, interesting nonetheless if it ever does happen. But so far, obviously, there's loads of other content that's coming through, man. So um, we'll before we go into the Wandavision stuff, let's go through some of these some other bits of content that they've been saying for Marvel, right? So it looks like they really are pushing ahead with the Ironheart, Rue Williams version of Iron. I don't know what her name is. It's just called Ironheart, isn't it?
Ironheart,
It's
yeah.
not like Iron Woman or anything like
No,
that.
Ironheart.
So they really seem to be pushing ahead with that. They've been interviewing the actress and stuff. Um, what's your thoughts on about having another actor kind of take on this Iron Mantle
I've never been into
so
the.
quickly?
I've never really gotten into the books of Ironheart, but as far as I know, it's just going to be a Disney Plus show, right?
Yeah,
So I can ignore it. I don't really feel like I have to watch it. Like, it could be surprise. Like, it's Marvel, and so far they've always seemed to find a way for me to watch. Like, I didn't really think when Wandavision started. I was thinking I was gonna write it off. I was thinking, what is this? What's this sitcom? It's not even funny. It's like, what's the? I'm loving it now. I'm on the edge of my seat with it. So they do have a way of drawing you in, making it feel like you have to watch this show. So it could end up being, a surprise.
I think they have to cover all bases as well, right? So they have to cover the real youngsters, tweens or whatever they call them, and then obviously the older kind of lot there as well at the same time. So
Yeah.
because they're also at the same time they're doing Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I think it's called, which I only knew about because this okay. This is one thing that always vexes me, right? Whenever it's like my son's birthday or my daughter's birthday or anything like that, people buy them books and things, right? And they know that they're into superheroes and stuff, right? Every single time the superhero book comes, it's bloody Marvel, right? And
As it should be. Yes.
and,
Yes.
and this one basically is like it's like a Marvel encyclopedia or something, which I've been reading to my son. So I know so many characters from Marvel now; it's kind of crazy, right? So I actually do know about this about this Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur
Yeah, I have no
character,
idea.
right? So yeah, so this Moon Girl is basically like she has like above genius level intellect, and accidentally she kind of opens this like time warp which brings a dinosaur, T-Rex kind of forwards into time, and she can communicate with this like T-Rex telepathically, and they use their abilities to kind of
Oh,
protect like the city or whatever.
was she in the Oh, what was that group where their parents were supervillains and then the kids found out? Runaways. Yeah, there was a
I
member
don't
of.
I don't know if it's in that. That's the
Yeah,
only
because
thing
there
it's
was a
got in the
member of the
encyclopedia.
Runaways which had a dinosaur, like a velociraptor, that she was psychically connected to. It sounds like must be the same character.
It might be, yeah. I mean, this devil dinosaur is some massive like dinosaur
Or
basically. But
maybe,
yeah,
but yeah.
they're making like a cartoon version of that Lawrence Fishburne has kind of signed up to and stuff. And it seems like they're getting a lot of kind of good voice actors and things for that. But that seems to be in that sphere where they've got that devil dinosaur and Moon Girl, and also the Iron Heart and things, because at the end of this book, they have this chapter, and it says the new generation.
Mm.
So, and at the end of it, it has Miss Marvel, it has that devil dinosaur thingy, it has Ironheart, it has Mars Morales, and it has one other that I can't remember. Amadeus Cho, I think his name is Amadeus Cho. Amadeus Cho, I think it's called.
Doesn't have any of
Um,
the new Avengers in there.
that's the only thing at the end of this book, basically. So
Bang, bang.
that's the thing that the other stuff where they've got like She-Hulk and all those other kind of things, they've grouped in different parts of it. But I would assume from the date when this book was made, this was kind of like this is like the new generation. So it seems like they're setting that up as like maybe the more kid friendly
If I was
kind of thing.
Feige, I'll be laying the groundwork for what the next lot of Avengers would be in a decade from now. So if these actors haven't done crazy shit and turned into drug addicts, then you have the new Ms. Marvel, you have the, Ironheart and all of that once they're 10 years older, and they could be the next bunch of mainstream Marvel heroes. So it
Because
makes
that
sense.
could actually be an absolutely insane way to do things.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine, like, obviously we've had this decade or so of Marvel stuff, when we've kind of seen the culmination where it's gone into the Infinity Saga and stuff.
Yeah.
But we could actually see, like you were saying, in real time, these people growing up, and they could be like uh, you know 15, 16 year olds
Mm.
now, and then their mid 20s
Yep.
when the 10-year culmination comes.
Perfect.
That would be something that would be unheard of. Pretty much, you're literally seeing these
Yeah.
people grow up in real time, man. It'll It's actually quite insane when you can when you think about it, man. So yeah, it would be interesting to know if they would do that, man. If we go back to the kind of present day stuff, the new trailer of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Mm.
dropped, with the I think it was at the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Super
Um,
Bowl trailer.
so yeah, did you have any change of thoughts or anything when you're watching this, or
No, like it's weird because I'm never. I don't know what's going on. I don't really seem to be overly excited, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna watch it straight away when it drops. Like I will. And I think it's gonna be good. I like the fact that Agent 13's back
hmm
after she was kind of neglected in the films for a while. Yeah, I loving. I just want to know how Baron Zemo fits into this. How he's gotten free and what his new plan is or what he's trying to achieve. So yeah,
yeah,
the intrigue of it is, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching it. So I'm into it.
yeah, there's a lot of kind of fan theories and stuff going around saying like the reason for the purple mask is basically for him to um give off give off the idea of Thanos, which kind of like basically makes the Avengers kind of um not pissed off, but kind of just, I don't know, it kind
Yeah.
of like tugs at their heartstrings or whatever, when
Or
they're kind of
triggers
seeing
their
that. So
PTSD from
yeah,
that massive
yeah.
war they were just a part of.
I actually, when I watched this trailer, I I watched most of it with a smile on my face, because I was kind of just like, do you know, I'm talking I was near death. I wasn't near death, guys. I'm not saying, right. I basically, I
And
basically
Marvel brought you back.
after a week where I'm just like, oh God, I just needed something, right? And I was just watching it and I was like, this actually is something that I could probably watch, get entertained by. I'm not going to think too deeply into it, because it doesn't look like there's any huge mystery kind
Mm.
of going on like there is with Wandavision or whatever. And it's just one of those old school superhero
It's an
kind of
action.
action kind of things.
Yeah.
The only thing that I looked at with this is that it seems to be very Falcon heavy, and Winter Soldier doesn't seem to be doing a great deal. I mean, a lot of it, he was just sitting around, like, he was on the train kind of thing with his, doing something on the train, but the rest of it, he didn't look like he was doing anything.
There has been one little criticism of how they've handled the Winter Soldier character. Like, I love his introduction of just his badass assassin, and I kind of feel like, that he's, with each appearance, he kind of seems to get a little neutered. And I kind of like how he was just this badass guy that was just kicking everybody when he was introduced.
I think there's two. That's the thing. There's two elements in this that I've wanted to see, but it seems like they don't want to introduce it for one reason or another. One of them is exactly what you're saying, that the fact that he literally is this badass guy, and I think they could turn him into a character, kind of like a Batman kind of character, where it's literally just like he's one step away from just killing somebody, right? Or just, he literally is somebody that you have to watch, because there's always that thing that he could get triggered by something, and then he goes off on one. And the second thing is the fact that this guy is meant to be born in like the 1920s, right? So he's acting like somebody from the modern day, right? And I understand he's been conditioned by Hydra and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, he should have that personality of somebody who's from the 20s,
like our Cap did. They played it up on with Captain America, but they not so much with him. But partly because we barely really see him in any deep way on screen so far. So
Well, I mean, we'll see how that plans out. What's your thought process of our favorite actor, the Falcon, being the major?
Well, I don't know if he's the major. I don't know. I don't want to commit to that, but he should be what his safe place is, the body. So as long as it is balanced and isn't as heavy as the trailer, makes it look, then he's in the right sort of place, because he cannot lead a film, cannot lead a TV series. Killed all carbon, bastard.
Yeah, I mean, is Altered Carbon ever going to recover?
Nope, it's cancelled. It's dead. Thanks a lot, Mackie.
Yeah, poor Mackie, man. He kind of did ruin it. But he's a weird soul, Mackie. Honestly, in real life, like you see him and he kind of like does interviews and stuff, and he's talking about how the acting roles and stuff have changed, how it's all superheroes and stuff nowadays. It's like, mate, what the hell are you doing like the entire time? It's like you're playing the Falcon, then you're going to bloody Altered Carbon, then you're going on some next thing playing some Terminator character. It's like, it's not as if you're playing Robert De Niro level roles, right? And you're going off on people who are doing that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm actually looking quite forward to that. And I for some reason, because I think the Loki trailer was like on a playlist that came after it or something, I ended up watching that trailer there again, and that, just the weirdness of it, intrigues me there as well a bit. So
I like that. I like they're willing to go outside of the box, and I just love that. They did it with Wonder, obviously. Then they're going to be more conventional with Falcon and Winter Soldier, just more straight up action adventure, road buddy comedy, whatever it's going to be. And then it goes back to slightly weird. What the hell's going on with Loki? I like that.
Yeah, you have to. What's that thing they say? One for you, one for me.
Yeah,
exactly, kind of thing. So it's kind of like literally just like, you have to. The one big mistake that a lot of companies do is they don't do something that's a crowd pleaser, right? And you literally have to do something that keeps your crowd entertained without getting too much wackiness. And that was one of the things that happened with like Inhumans and stuff, because Inhumans just went completely out of whack. Yeah, I mean, it's crap as well. It was crap as well. But it's just the fact that it was so out there and weird that you kind of never engage that crowd that you got from the other stuff. So I'm kind of intrigued the way this is going. So with that, should we get into Wandavision?
Oh
Um,
my. Oh, gotta
so
admit, Uz has not seen the most recent ep.
I
Sadly.
have not seen episode 6. However,
Shame on
I
you.
don't mind Ed's. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what happened to me. I was kind of just like, I've got to watch it. I've got to watch it. I've got to watch it, and then it's just never really happened. It's just kind of just, it's just kind of, it's weird. We've got this new mattress now because we've always had this shitty mattress. They bought this Simba mattress or whatever, and it's like that mattress is dangerous, man, because it's literally just like you lie down on it and it's just like, God, this is so comfy.
Yeah.
Right?
I
I
can't even
need
lie.
to.
I can't lie. You're right. Whenever I get into a new mattress, new memory foam, something combo, oh, so good.
It's just like, yeah, it's literally just like, oh God, this is just amazing. So yeah, so it's just never kind of come around, but I will, I'll
But so
probably watch that tomorrow lunchtime.
up until what the latest episode was, what, 6? So you saw
Yes.
5. So what is your
Seen 5.
impression up to 5? Has it changed from where it started?
Yeah, because I tell you, at episode 4, um I was on the verge of giving this thing up, because I was just like, the thing was, the other stuff I could, even though it had the comedy aspects and things like that, I still could kind of watch it, right? Because I was like, this is a means to an end,
The films.
right? All of the sitcom-y bits,
Oh yeah,
basically.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
And obviously, like, there's a lot of Easter eggs and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff in there for people to kind of see, but I don't know half the Easter eggs, so obviously for me it's kind of just like,
A lot of people do.
well,
The Marvel guys.
what is this? So by episode 4, which was the 70s one, right? That was the 70s one. When I was watching that, I literally, at that point, for most of the episode, for almost the entire episode, was like, what the hell am I watching?
Is that the one when
Right?
she was pregnant
That was the one when she was
and all
pregnant,
that
and I
goofy
didn't.
stuff was happening? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it entertaining. I didn't find it intriguing. Like, literally none of it. And I was just like, God, what the hell is
That
this? Right?
was my initial issue. That where it was supposed to just be a comedy, just a sitcom, it just wasn't funny. But apparently, I've been talking to people who aren't into any superhero properties or films, and they were laughing and loving it. Apparently, so it's like, well, maybe I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly the same. Like, our film forum, we've had the same kind of mixed responses. Some people being like, "Oh, this sitcom part is just like hilarious," and other people just being like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah.
So
But it was the
um,
intrigue that kept me there, and now that that's become the main part of it, we're getting it now. We're seeing what's going on outside. Now
yeah,
I'm in it, deep in it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. When it got towards the end of this, and I don't want to be one of these people who is like, "Oh, well, I just want the mystery to be spoiled, like, as quickly as possible." I don't. I enjoy mysteries, and I enjoyed, Outer Limits was like one of my favorite series, like, back in the day. But with this, it was very difficult for me to keep engaged. But then obviously now it's kind of like, when at the end of episode 4, when you see Wanda turn and she just like get out, basically, and she just throws Monica out, like, literally just like, get the hell out of my thing. At that point, it's like, okay, now this is potentially intriguing, because it's like, she's created this kind of, universe and stuff like that. And the whole thing about this is so, on the face of it,
Mm.
it's a very, like, okay, you got the sitcom parts. It's like, okay, there's a mystery, whatever. But in reality, this is like, it's pretty creepy that
Yeah.
this is actually Vision, right? This is not like an avatar of this
Yeah,
dude.
that is
This
just
is,
his dead body that she just stole and is reanimated and is just puppeteering it. But he does have a mind of his own, so she's not completely controlling him. But everybody else, when you see that they're once you see it break through when the reality hits and just the pain and suffering that they're going through, it's like, oh God, Wanda,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah,
What are
because
you
she
doing?
just like, cause she's basically just like turned, like, to try and do. She's literally had some kind of mental breakdown
Break,
then
yeah.
to decide, obviously, to do that kind of thing. But the one interesting thing is that it just brings up so many of these other kind of things. Like, you've got the fact that Vision can be reanimated, as it were.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, is this a prelude to a Sentinel kind of thing? Is this a Days of Future Past situation that could be coming around? They're already teasing certain things in there. I would they're and they're also like, the actress is saying, like, oh, we're gonna have like a Luke Skywalker level kind of cameo, basically, at some point, um that is coming in. And when you're looking at stuff like
Hopefully,
that.
hopefully that is someone else and not just Evan Peters, even though that was still a big deal when it happened. Hopefully that is alluding to someone else as well.
Yeah, yeah, and that was a big surprise.
It's like,
That was-
boy,
because at that point,
it had been ruined
yeah.
though, sadly.
Oh, it got ruined, sorry.
Oh yeah, it had been ruined. People have been talking about it for a couple of weeks because the Spanish voice actor who
Okay.
voices Evan Peters in whatever he does decided to go on Twitter and be like, "I've been hired to be Evan Peters' voice
Oh
in Wandavision." Yeah.
god.
Obviously, he got the boot afterwards, but yeah, that got.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, luckily I've been I've been out of it for 2 weeks. That's one of the advantages. I need to do that before anything literally comes out. Just kind of get an illness that keeps you in bed for 2 weeks, and then
So
you then
what were
you
you
have.
thinking then when the door was ringing and she opened the door? What was going through your head on who is this?
Yeah, so I was thinking, okay, I was thinking it's going to be, what's his name, Aaron Taylor,
Yeah,
what's his face.
John.
I was thinking it's got to be him, because you've already got the kids there, and they're kind of been hinting at it, and all of these kind of stages are her going through different traumas,
Mm.
and obviously her bringing him back is kind of getting away from the trauma. But then it's like, I looked at that and I was like, whoa, okay, this is going a bit crazy now.
What does it mean?
Yeah, because
Universes, what's the dimensions? What's happening?
because then at this point everything's up in the air, right?
Anything can
Because
happen.
it's like, when they're talking about certain things, every single thing potentially could be something major. So Monica Rambeau keeps talking about this astrophysicist or whatever that she knows, right? And it's like, is that Reed Richards that she's talking about? Is that, who the hell is that she's talking about? Is
I
that
was
is that Doctor Doom that she's talking about?
See, I was
I don't
thinking
know.
because we got Sword. Now, if you don't know who Sword are, guys, they're like Shield, but they deal with things in space beyond the atmosphere. The reason why they're dealing with Wanda in this is, I guess, because there's no Shield, so I guess they're de facto organization to deal with it now. But yeah, I was thinking that Sword would be an interesting way to introduce the Fantastic Four because they deal with space stuff. So it could be Reed Richards. Anything's possible, and I love it.
And if they, exactly, if they show that, what's his name? I always get this guy's name wrong. It's like Iwan Griffith or something like that. He's a Welsh guy, actor. If he turns up as Reed
Oh
Richards,
no, I don't
man,
want him back.
that
No,
would be the
fuck it.
most
No, no, no,
hilarious.
no,
That would
no.
be if, like, Jessica Alba turns up, or if they're like, oh, Johnny Storm and bloody Chris Evans turns up, it'd be like, what the hell? It's
Side
just
by side, that'd be
batshit
hilarious.
crazy. Like, absolutely. As long as they don't have that rubber Ben Grimm, then
Mm.
that's all right, man. You know what I mean? So, but
That's-
yeah, it's an interesting show, and it's, sometimes I kind of think, okay, they're 30 minutes long, man, and it's like, I don't know. The shorter a show is, the less I kind of feel like I want to go and watch it, because it's like, what can actually happen in this short period of time. But
there's a
then at the
big
same,
there's a big meme going on now about the biggest villain or the true villain in WandaVision is that end credit that first please stand by thing, because it's like it always kicks in right as things are getting crazy, and it's like, oh, stop it. But from now on, I think the next couple of episodes are all supposed to be an hour long.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've been spoiled by the fact that, a lot of shows that we've watched, they've all been on that hour mark or whatever, and really not used to that 30 minutes. I mean, when we were kids, it's like I watch back, episodes of programs, with the kids like Knight Rider and stuff, and they're like 26 minutes long
Yeah,
or something.
18. They're just it was so short, and
you
that
know,
would build up my entire week to get to Saturday to watch these shows, and they were just
yeah.
ends as soon as they begin.
I mean, the only shows that would last forever would be like Columbo and Quincy and shit.
The
You know what
Murder
I
She
mean?
Wrote and all those bloody shows.
That's one thing I've missed now I've been ill. It's like, where's my Quincy and
You're just that delusional. You thought you were back in the 80s or 90s.
yeah, exactly,
Oh.
exactly. Like, I need to watch those shows. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. One of the things that I do like is the fact that they're not they're not kind of pussyfooting around the fact that this is part of the MCU, and it's like, well, we're gonna bring big people from there into this.
Yeah.
That's always the problem I had with stuff like Agents Shield and some of the DC stuff and things like that. It's like, why you kind of pussyfooting around everything? It's like, they can't mention certain people and stuff like that. Like, this is a quick aside, but did you watch all of the Super Bowl trailers?
Uh, which one you want?
So
What
there's
you want?
one of the this is nothing to do with DC or Marvel, but one of the Super Bowl trailers is called Clarice, right? And it's
Oh, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
it's basically about Clarice Starling, who is the
From Hannibal.
who is in Hannibal. The problem is, right? This is the joke. They can't mention Hannibal, right? They can't. They can mention Buffalo Bill, but only in the crimes that he's done, basically, right? Um,
It's
they
just
can't mention anything about the case or anything like that because of all of those kind of all the the issues with licensing and stuff,
yeah.
right? And it kind of makes me think, why the hell are you doing it in the first place, right? It's much like all the Arrowverse stuff where they used to be like, oh, we can't mention Batman, we can't
Not
mention Nightwing, we
Batman.
can't mention this, we can't mention that, we can't mention Wayne Enterprises, we could, all stuff like this. It's like,
And
why
it's
even
and it's
bother?
all under the same freaking umbrella. Like, what is the sense in this? It's just the bureaucracy of it all. Yeah, it is frustrating. So it is so refreshing that it's just all here and it's all connected in one beautiful tapestry.
Yeah, yeah, and it will be one of those things that people will watch there again, kind of later on and stuff like that.
Apparently,
I think.
Forbes sourced some company that deal with online trends from social media and what's getting pirated and ratings, all of that. And apparently, Wandavision is the biggest show right now, judging on
I'm
those.
not surprised. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised because I mean, this is the thing. Like, I kind of sometimes don't listen to those things that much because kind of like for example with with WW84, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the biggest film ever, but it's like there was nothing out at the same time. You can't exactly say like this is the biggest thing that has ever come out. I guess with the TV stuff is a bit different because there are things that come in there, but yeah, I mean the metrics are probably very sound.
I think it
um
helps that it's a week. They didn't just dump it all in one go. Like the week
yeah,
to week thing has shown that the intrigue has kept people coming back even when it was weak at the beginning.
yeah. I
And
mean, this is the thing. I think one of the things that Disney unfortunately did, because they're very good at integrating everything. I think one of the problems is they gambled too much on Star Wars, right? And it's like, Star Wars is great, and I'd love to go and sit in the Millennium Falcon and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, there is this massive generation of kids who would be like, want to go to, say, for example, like a Wandavision ride or something like that, crazy trippy, VR kind of ride, or a Loki ride, or a Falcon. Imagine. you're on a roller coaster like Falcon
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing. Those kind of things, I think, are gonna get people coming
Yeah, these are
to those kind of
side
things.
characters. When you actually really think about it, these are just like minor side characters to a degree, and they've
Yeah,
got their own show and they're kicking ass with it. So it shows you just invest in it.
that's exactly the way that it is, man. And that's why I think, like, Kevin Feige's been saying about Black Widow, right? And he's like, he doesn't want to have that joint release of Disney Plus and theatrical.
Mm,
They're still hanging on to that theatrical, potential release,
mm,
basically, which I don't know how realistic that is. Um, but that's their plan. They still want to, they still want to make, some things, some things to come out in the cinema and other things to be coming out on Disney Plus. So there is that integrated plan, but um, I think I think if you release things at in the cinema and streaming at the same time, you cheapen the the nature of it.
yeah.
Um, because it's like Dune is coming out at the same time in the cinema and on HBO Max. It's like, come on now, guys. Like, seriously, there is no comparison to watching Dune in a bloody IMAX
Mm.
compared to watching it on a bloody mobile phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
it
it's
a weird little thing I've gotten into for some reason. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole is watching people watching MCU films for the first time and watching their
okay.
reactions. People, again, aren't into superhero films or written them off when they're originally out. And to see them slowly fall in love with these as they go through the films, and then their sort of depression at the end when they get to, Endgame to be like, why not watch these in the cinema, man? I wish I could have experienced this properly with everyone cheering. And now they're just watching it on fucking YouTube. Same.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, this is the thing, man. The Infinity War experience was something else, man. I'll tell you, I have not had that experience in the cinema since uh, since Revenge of the Sith. Like,
Wow.
where was that? 2001 or something like that. Because I remember, man, there were parts of Revenge of the Sith where people were just silent, man. Like, literally, like, say what you like about that film, but when, like, Darth Vader was getting burnt and stuff, people were just like, what the heck? Like, literally silence in that cinema. And I remember when because I don't really react that much when I'm when I'm
Yeah,
watching
no,
it
no, no.
watching a film and stuff. I'm kind of a bit like, yeah, okay, let
Yeah.
me let me just get it. But I remember when I was watching Infinity War, and when Peter Parker and he's like, oh, Mr. Stark, I don't feel too good, and I'm like, no. No, they're not gonna kill off Spider-Man. Do not kill Spider-Man off, right? And it was like, because I watched that with my son, right? And the thing is, my son is basically, he doesn't cry and stuff like that, but what he does is he goes quiet. He will go quiet and he will be like biting his lip. And I'll be like, "You're right, mate. You're right," and he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah." And I remember we watched Infinity War and we saw it, and Spider-Man's dying, and he's like that, and I'm like, "Are you all right, mate? You're right." Yeah, 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 like that. And it's like his favorite character is basically being killed. And the thing is like literally afterwards, I had to, let him watch Spider-Verse and stuff to say Spider-Man's still alive and he's, he's not dying and stuff. But
I can't
those
wait.
effects, man.
Yeah, but back to the Wandavision. I can't wait to see how they're gonna take what's happening here and spread it across to what happens in Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange. Like, it's hard because it is completely different to how it was in the comics, like with the House of M, which I think is the main story thread of where this is taken from. Completely different, but basically she rewrites reality everywhere. In the end, just gets rid of all or almost all mutants. So is that going to be why? Or obviously is, but how they're going to introduce all these other Spider-Men and how they're all going to interact with each other, and how's it all going to end? Like, what's the state of the world going to be? Are they going to introduce mutants through this?
Yeah, Yeah, it could be as an opposite of House of M, where she actually creates the mutants in
Yeah,
effect.
yeah.
Like,
Because
it could be one of those things. I've got a feeling the the what's it called, the Luke Skywalker level of cameo is gonna be Professor X. That's my thought process on it.
you
I
heard
would,
those rumors.
or Magneto, one of the two.
Have you heard
I
those
would,
supposed rumors that are going around that Patrick Stewart has met with Feige?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think that is the kind of level that we're looking at. Although, to be honest, I would much, uh, however much I love McClellan, I would love to be seeing, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember what his name is now. Magneto, the
Oh,
actor.
well, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I'd rather see Fassbender, because that would be a mind blowing thing.
Be
Like,
too young though,
what
because
the hell is going on here? Yeah, that's the whole
but
messed up thing
then
about it. It's
Thingy's
like,
too old though. That's the thing. One's too old and one's too young to
yeah,
be like the parent of. Yeah,
it's like, this is a dude who is not much older than her, who is the parents of these people. But it's like the whole thing is like weird, because you've got like Pietro in X-Men, and in that kind of zone, he's got a younger sister that he mentions called Wanda, right?
yeah.
In I think it's the not Apocalypse, the one after. What was that called? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But obviously, when he mentions that he has that sister,
Does
and
he
she's
actually
like
name her as
super young.
Wanda? Because a lot of people were saying that wasn't Wanda. That was Polaris, the other sister, the younger sister that they've got. That people forget
I
about.
can't. I honestly, I can't remember. But he definitely mentions the younger sister.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't know.
still, it's interesting because one of the big triggers in the House of M thing is when Xavier confronts Wanda about this weird little reality bubble she's created with her kids, and he's like, "No, this has to stop." And that kind of, with among other things, feeds into her just being like rewriting everything. So is that how this is going to end? With him turning up and saying this has to stop, end this, and then
she
everything's
rewrites it, and then it's like that X-Men universe
yeah.
from Fox has disappeared, and it's like, it's crazy.
We can't predict where it's gonna go. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. We just don't want any Spanish voice actors turning up and ruining
Oh,
stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting, man. I actually, I'll go and watch number 6 tomorrow
yeah.
lunchtime, because
I've
it's
been
only half
trying
an hour.
hard,
So
guys, not to really mention what happens in. I know some of you probably want us to discuss that, but I just want him to just watch it, even though it's
yeah,
not massive changes yet, but there are changes. What do you feel about Randall Parks? Because there are people talking about him having his own little spin-off
yeah,
show, like a
yeah. I
little
think I
Marvel
think that
X-Files type show.
a Marvel X Files show. Wow. Okay, that could be interesting, man. It could be. Do you know what? As long as they've got the IP, then I don't care, because then at that point he could be investigating stuff, and he's actually mentioning things that are going on, and it's not like, "Oh, we got to skirt
Yeah.
around the issue or whatever." At the same time, it could be just like, he do you know, in the Ant-Man stuff, he's always come across as like this bumbling idiot, right?
Yeah.
And then in this, he kind of seems to be a bit more kind of professional, and a bit more kind of
A little
like,
bit. Yeah, a
he
little bit
knows
more.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not greatly, but a bit more. And I think it would be interesting to kind of see, like, the him doing that, because he seems to have got popularity from that. But
Mm.
it's just one of those things. I would much rather be watching the main continuity of Loki, Wanda, all of this kind of stuff, and just watching that, rather than being like, okay, there's an extra thing here that is kind of like, I think that's for super fans, if you ask me, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it will probably be a good show, to watch, but it's kind of like, okay, well, this is something that people who are really, really into this are going to want to watch,
Mm.
as opposed to, like a casual viewer who are kind of, trying to concentrate on the main thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Either way, I'm quite pleased with the way that a lot of this Marvel stuff has been going, because I'm always kind of a bit cynical about it, but it has been entertaining. I would say. So it's so yeah. So guys, let's should we just move on to DC quickly, because we haven't
Got to get into that trailer,
spoken
man.
anything about DC. And before we go on to the trailer, the Zack Snyder Justice League trailer, talk just briefly about the news about Gotham City PD. In that Gotham City PD is going to be linked to Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, we knew that, didn't
Right.
we?
Yeah, but it was never really kind of confirmed that it was like, like part of it or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Does that make you more wanting to see that, or just like, oh, it's just an extra thing now that you have to?
Because I heard that the actor who plays sitting out of one of the DC side of things, I'm just forgetting everybody's name. Gordon. Because I hear that he's
Yeah,
in the shows supposedly in some form of way. But yeah, with every film, with every DC movie, they want a spin-off show. So yeah, I thought it was a good idea, to be honest, to be doing this. So yeah, I was into the idea because I came up with it. Damn you, DC.
yeah. Well, do you really want to be um, want to be known as the guy who comes up with the ideas for DC, or do you? Well, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy who came up with all the ideas. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah,
As
let's.
long as they handle it well, it's written well. Because I'm still skeptical about this whole HBO Max compared to just HBO. It's a slightly different ethos and how they. I feel like the premium quality of HBO is slowly being deteriorated. Because HBO, as soon as you mentioned HBO, a new show on HBO, you knew it was going to be great.
Yeah,
90% of the time. Because it always was. And now with Max, it just feels
it's
a
a
level
very
down.
odd kind of it's a very odd situation where it's like, you know, the HBO Max seems to just be like, okay, we've got all these IPs and
Mm.
we can because they're still producing HBO shows, so it's kind of like they're keeping their A-list writers and stuff for HBO to be making, like, creative content that is literally just um you know has no kind of like, basis or whatever there to it. They're kind of just making up a story from scratch, whereas the ones that kind of have a basis there to it, it seems like, okay, well, we're putting our second string into that,
Yeah.
like the Berlantes and all those kind of things there, basically.
Yeah.
um and it's just, I don't know, they seem to want to capitalize on that market, that, that teen Riverdale market kind of thing,
Yeah.
while at the same time being under the HBO banner. So I don't know, man. I've got to see. The actual the CEO of HBO Max came out and said, like, we've basically got multiple very important IPs: Harry Potter,
Yeah.
DC, Game of Thrones, right? And he's like, these are our three main ones that we're going to be pushing. And of course, obviously, the DC stuff is getting pushed in terms of Green Lantern and, I guess, Titans, which I don't know. I'm gonna have to see some more of before we kind of see where that goes.
Yeah.
And Justice League Dark, which still seems to be going
Oh yeah.
ahead and stuff like that.
And the spin-offs from the
Um,
films. What, this is John Cena one, the Peacekeeper.
the Peacekeeper,
I'm
yeah. I,
fascinated by that. I'm just
the
fascinated how that's gonna turn out.
the rumors are that his performance of the Peacekeeper is like an absolute standout performance of just batshit craziness, basically. And
I,
when
I'm gonna openly say I think Suicide Squad is gonna be great. I know I
yeah,
shouldn't have hopes for it, but I don't know. For some reason, I think this is gonna be that DC film where I'm gonna be like, "That was amazing. I love that."
yeah, it's gonna be I think there's gonna have all the crazy kind of stuff that you can not get away with in other films. So like you're gonna have heads blowing off, and you're gonna have a flipping, arm going flying somewhere. People just, like Peacekeeper, who's basically, the dude who tries to keep the peace by killing loads of people, right? Is basically just gonna be like it's gonna be like, what the hell has he done now? Oh, he's done some other load
It
of
feels
crazy
more like a
shit.
character that should be in The Boys, to be honest. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah. I think do you know what? The Boys has a lot to answer for, because I think the fact that the Boys has been able to get away with a lot of stuff, and obviously a lot of the things you can't get away with in the theater, but because it's got away with a lot of things, I think from that, Suicide Squad has been like, well, we can get away with maybe one shade lower than that,
Yeah,
and everybody will kind of accept it. Because if you talk about it, like, even from 2008, when Batman Begins and stuff was coming out, and you're like, okay, well, this guy's going to get his head blown off, this other person is basically going to get, you know hung, and this other guy is basically gonna have an explosive device put up his ass and is gonna explode and stuff. Can you imagine, like, what I mean? Imagine pitching that in the Batman Begins time. People would be like, what? No way, you can't. This would be like, like the absolute fringes.
mm,
But now I guess this is the ideal property, I think, for James Gunn. I would
yeah.
be astonished if they just said to him, don't, if they didn't just say, look, mate, just make another one. If
I
it based
would
on
not
the
be
way that.
surprised. I wonder how many people, because you know that you can see all these goofy characters he's brought into this that are just there to die. So
Mm,
how many people are going to be left? How many
yeah,
more ones
there's
is he going to have to make up in the next one?
Harley Quinn, 100%.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
only one that I can
sure,
say.
yeah.
Harley Quinn will survive, and Peacemaker. That's the two,
I don't know if
two
that's
that
a
we know.
guarantee. Could be, but maybe
Oh, it
it's
could
a
be a prequel.
prequel. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It could be a prequel.
Idris Elba. He
Idris
needs
Elba.
he needs to kill
I
one big
don't
star though,
know.
innit? To make it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
needs to kill off a big guy. But some of these ones, man, like Polka Dot Man and flipping
Dead.
Ratcatcher, and
Dead.
yeah, I mean,
Ratcatcher,
I
I
mean,
think he's gonna live. I think he's gonna be in the next one and the next one.
yeah, exactly. Do you know there's going to be, like, they sometimes have, typically in these films, where it's like you think that person's going to die, like, and it's like, they're just about to step on like a mine or something, and they
Yeah.
just miss it, and it's just like every single thing. It's like, this person's going to die, this person's going to die, but they just somehow survive absolutely everything. That's what they're going to have, like this stupid ass character, basically. Um,
Goofy rat. Because it's his brother, innit?
yeah,
Who does it motion caps that. So yeah, he's gonna keep him
yeah.
around.
It'll be interested to know what, and King Shark as well. I want to see what King Shark comes
Oh
out with, man.
man.
King Shark, one of my favorite characters, so it would just be hilarious the way this idiot bloody
Have
King
we
Shark
seen
is.
we have, haven't we? Have seen King Shark's design.
Yeah, yeah, because he's like, oh, King Shark is a shark.
How was it
It's
compared
like,
to the
King Shark is a shark.
CW ones? Because I'll have to admit, they didn't look bad on the CW. They actually
This
did
one
a
looks
half decent job.
more like a cartoony version,
Uh,
where it's like, where it just looks like a goofy, because King Shark in the CW is more comic book like, where it's literally like, this is an evil dude,
yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just, he basically rips people's heads off and stuff. With this, it's like, kind of like, I'm a shark, I'm a double shark kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Like the Harley Quinn version of it.
Yeah, yeah, like the really, like, stupid ass version, man. So I remember there was like this stupid scene when I think it was Justice League. Was it Justice League Dark, or was it the one with the last Constantine one and stuff like that? And he's so embarrassed because he's like, oh god, my ex is here, and people were just like looking around thinking, oh, is it Killer Frost or whatever? But it's King Shark, right? So Constantine's ex is like bloody King Shark, man, and King Shark's like,
What?
it's just so freaking
What?
bizarre. It's the weirdest shit they've ever put in the cartoon versions I've ever seen, man. It's just such a bizarre. If you
Not
go to
only is
YouTube,
Constantine bisexual now, he's also dating animals.
Yeah,
Together.
King Shark dating King Shark, which is so
Wow.
weird, man. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I just hope that the cinemas get back on track by that kind of time. You know what I
That's gonna
mean?
feel so weird, man. Being in a when that eventually happens, being in a full cinema. We need to have some sort of ID thing for. Have you seen Songbird
Yeah.
yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't. No.
In that, people had
Most
like
looking.
a little wrist ID thing to show when they've been if they're immune. But I guess for
Yeah.
if we get the whatever the fuck it's called, yeah, we need some sort of idea. Did they give that out? Because we need it so that you can get
I
into
don't know.
clubs, bars, and cinemas. Sit into a packed cinema and hear everyone laughing at the same time. That's gonna be so strange.
It's gonna be so crazy. But just also just everything around it, like the fact that the last time you went in there, I mean, the last time I went in, right, I watched Bloodshot, right, and I'll never forgive myself for
It was
that being
Tenant.
oh, Tenet. Yes, we
Yeah, it
watched
was on
Tenet after
Tenant.
that. That's good. Yeah, so that was the last one. In fact, yeah, that was the last one. That was the last one. In between that, I watched this thing with Javier Bardem, which if he doesn't win the Oscar for that,
Yeah.
God knows, man, is there's no other kind of choice. In fact, what's it called has been Birds of Prey has been put forward for 2 Oscars as well. That's the thing, man. Not much competition around it. So just before we get into Snyder Cut stuff, there was the actress who played Black Canary. She
Yeah.
tweeted out something there yesterday about um, basically like a cover of Green Arrow and like quoting from Black Canary and stuff, right? And saying, how this line is crazy and stuff like that, and hashtagging Dina Lance and all this kind of stuff. So people obviously speculating like crazy now, thinking, okay, is there something now that is going on with the character of Black Canary and Green Arrow getting some kind of, I don't know, HBO Max show or something like that. Um,
So that's weird. Does he want to come back? ML, whatever.
not that Green Arrow, but a
Oh, the
Green
daughter.
Arrow.
But didn't they cancel that? There was going to be the daughter with the canaries with her.
Yeah, but this is the Black Canary actress from Birds of Prey, not the Black
Oh,
Canary
whoa,
actress
whoa,
from the.
yeah.
So the question is, are they looking at some kind of, I don't know, Green Arrow and Black Canary situation
Interesting.
from the films? That's the kind of rumors, obviously, that are coming out because it seems like, unless
Mm,
she's trying to canvas for something, which is
yeah.
also another possibility there as well. Whenever you see these kind of things, so that is a kind of watch your space kind of thing situation, man. So, um, but without further ado, did you see the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I did. Uh, looks, the footage looks cool as you'd expect. I've got to admit though, I haven't really loved any of these Snyder Cut trailers. I don't know the music that gets used. I haven't really, not really into.
Yeah, I
Stuff
I
like
have the same I had the same thought process because obviously I kind of look at it and I say, okay, there's a lot of footage they're not showing us, but also at the same time, when somebody comes and says oh, actually, this seems like similar footage to what was in the Justice League stuff, but they've changed it around a little bit, changed the order, changed the appearance of certain scenes and stuff like that. It's difficult to not agree with that.
it does look
Um,
very similar to the
I
yeah.
mean, especially like there are certain things that people are going crazy about, but when I see as a DC fan, I'm like, man, this is nuts. Like to actually see this kind of thing. For example, like the appearance of Darkseid and Granny Goodness and all that kind of stuff, right? But the thing is that that's going to be probably 15 seconds as a maximum towards the end of the film because you're basically seeing those guys appearing through the mother box, right?
Mm.
and it's like that is what is on the other side of your boombox portal, right?
Yeah.
And you can see the army there, and you see Darkseid, and then the boombox closes, right? That is not the 3 hours and 30 minutes extra of footage that people have been talking about. And like Fabian Wagman, the cinematographer, being like, oh well, only 30 minutes of my footage was using Joss Whedon's thing. It's like, okay, that's fine, but then there's lots of other bits that potentially could be shown throughout the film that I kind of look and I think, well, it doesn't look like those bits are in there, like there's extra bits or
Mm.
whatever. It's imagine if you're looking at this and you had no idea what this Justice film League film would be about. Could you understand what it was about from that trailer?
Oh,
I think
the
you'd
actual
struggle.
story. No, it ain't really
Yeah.
clearly laid out on what the what the well, you can see who the antagonist is, but we don't really explain in the trailer. Yeah, it's actually difficult. Yeah, you just see
It's I,
Superman screaming and sound waves going across the landscape.
yeah, and I kind of understand that, because that's obviously like with basically like the sound of him dying is
Mm.
basically saying like, well, that's activated the mother box or whatever. And the mother box is now open because the fact that Superman has screamed in
Yeah,
effect. But also at the same time, it's like, um, okay, we kind of know this anyway. We kind of know that Darkseid is turning up, and we know Steppenwolf is turning up and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see, like, these different kind of bits, but at the same time, I want to see a continuation of the other two bits, right? I'm one of these weird people who watched MOS and BVS and actually liked both of them in the theaters, right? And it's weird because, like, the way that people were talking about it, me and one of my friend, when who you met obviously when we'd seen BVS, we we went home and we're talking about it, and we're just like, yeah, we liked it, and we're talking about all the things in there that we liked and stuff, things that we would have liked to have seen in there and things. um I don't get that feeling when I see this. When I saw the first trailer for Justice League, the theatrical cut, obviously I didn't like the film at all. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Look what Batman's doing. Look what Aquaman's doing. Look what Wonder Woman's doing. Look what Cyborg's doing. I just literally just like the mother box in your head. It's like ding, 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 like continuous DC excitement throughout the entire thing. Then obviously you see the film and it's like, what the hell was that? Um,
yeah,
but but I don't get that. I don't get that feeling with this, and it's strange to me, because I should be looking at Batman thinking, holy shit, this is this is Batman, and he's in the he's in the nightmare scene, and this is going to be awesome. And it's like, oh my God, that's Joker, and Joker
yeah.
and
That's
Batman are
right.
working together, and it's like, this is crazy. And just the whole thing, like the redesign of Steppenwolf, and the fact that that Alfred is saying to Batman, like, you don't go and you don't go and rage a red flag to a bull unless you know how to, like, defeat the bull, basically. And
Mm.
it's like, if you look at the redesign of Steppenwolf, he literally looks like a bull. It's like
Yeah,
bloody horns on him and stuff, and the red flag is the bloody Superman, right? And it's like, you should be thinking, damn, this is crazy. I can't wait to watch it. But I think part of it is the fact that I know that it's like, I'm not gonna be able to see that in a cinema. It's maybe gonna be on a laptop, because we can't get bloody HBO Max in the UK. It's not going to be in the right ratio, because it's meant to be a 4.3 IMAX, which
yeah.
which you can't get. And it's, I don't know, it just, I feel bad because this is like I've been looking forward to this for like years, but it just I don't know. It feels like an anticlimax to me, man. I was talking to Salim about this earlier and saying exactly the same thing. I was like, I just don't feel excited for this right now. I don't know why. And I should be.
Maybe this is the better way to go into it though, because you're less chance of being disappointed. Just in for the ride.
That is true. I mean, the one things I know is that obviously Batman's going to get portrayed properly. That's the thing, as opposed to Justice League, where it was just the biggest disgrace of a of a
Yeah.
portrayal there ever. But I think Superman fans potentially going to get pissed by this
They've been pissed
because
anyway. They haven't gotten the version that they
yeah,
love.
Superman fans are very kind of like they've got this very much like comic book idea of Superman,
Voiced
which
out.
unfortunately doesn't really work very well in in portrayed in cinema. I think the closest they've ever got to it
Donovan.
is Captain America,
Oh
right?
wow,
Because
yeah,
Captain
yeah, yeah.
America is the closest to the comic book version of Superman that they've ever done. But then the difference between Captain
Besides the
America,
Dawn of Superman, they love that.
they love the well, I don't think people who love the Dawn of Superman have watched Superman very often because those films do not stand up, man. They are ropey as hell. And they
Gloss.
obviously yeah. And they obviously tried that with Wonder Woman 84 to capture that essence basically and it just doesn't work anymore. I think that one of the big problems is that you can have somebody like Captain America have exactly the same Boy Scout ideas as Superman should do, but the thing is that he's way lower in power than Superman is.
Mm.
So you can't then portray him in the way that you portray Captain America, while at the same time having somebody who's so ridiculously overpowered that he could literally just destroy you and not give a shit about it, or just be like, well, why am I bothered being part of this fight when it's like below me kind of thing because I've got so much power, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it creates, because Captain America's always he potentially could get killed at any point,
yeah.
right?
Let's get shot
You
in the
know,
head.
Superman can't, right? Superman is like, well, he got killed by the Doomsday Sod hybrid, whatever character it was, but otherwise, it's like portraying him in reality is like how much how easily can he get killed. He can only get killed by something that is way more powerful than him, and to portray that on screen is super difficult to do. So they have to either nerf him or nerf his personality to make it that he doesn't want to use all his powers because he could potentially do whatever.
They
So
need to get more
I,
into magic, man, on the DC side of things, just to show a different way that they can balance that sort of Omega level power out. So something like Superman doesn't always seem so OP.
I, and I think that brings us very nicely into your best mate Dwayne Johnson, who is going into that magical realm of bringing Dr. Fate in there, and his Black Adam is going to be very much a kind of magic based power
Mm.
set, which they're going to have, which is why I think he's saying like, okay, the balance is going to change, and Black Adam is going to be this major force and stuff like that. um but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to watch this trailer a couple more times and kind of think, okay, there, this is something that I've been looking forward to, and maybe you might not get to watch it in the way that you actually want, um, but at the same time, at least you get to watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
You little bum that there's definitely no way that this is going to continue in any way. That it's just its own little isolated thing.
yeah, it kind of gives me the same feeling as like something, right? So
Yeah.
with something, I was almost at the end, and then I think when you were watching it, you're kind of like, I don't know if I can be bothered to watch it now because it's basically that's it. Once you
Mm.
get to the end, that's it, right? And it's not like a Netflix series where it's like they give you the hope that this is going to continue, but they literally just say, well, that's it. And I think with this, there is a lot. There's definitely a lot riding on this, especially for HBO Max there as well, because they if this does the kind of numbers that I think it's going to do, because numbers are very like there's no nuance to a number,
Mm.
right? So there are tons of people who downloaded WW84, right? Yeah, despite what I thought about that, some people liked it, most people hated it,
Did a
but
lot of
it
numbers, big
but it did
numbers.
crazy numbers. And I think the same thing is going to happen with this. Whatever people say about this, whatever, whether people like it or they hate it or they think it's the greatest thing ever, it could be that this becomes for
Got
people who liked MOS and BVS, like the ultimate completion of the thing.
it's got to be way smaller than WW8 though, because it's mainly the us that are already in it that are really itching to see this. Casual film viewers, it's like, oh, what, Justice League again? Another edit? What, director's cut? Like, they have no real.
Yeah, I guess so. It depends. I guess it depends how much push it gets in terms of like advertising and stuff, but also as well like when they're looking at the numbers and stuff like that, what is coming at the same time as that, right? So
March, nothing.
WW84 had no competition, right? And that's part of it, is that literally people were looking for something around that
What,
kind of time now.
Christmas? Everyone was at home with their family, just wanted something to watch after Christmas dinner.
Yeah, and I
Perfect
think
time.
I think one of the issues that could come with this is the fact that I mean, I'm thinking purely from a point of view from our country,
Mm.
is that that's the kind of time when they're thinking that the lockdown's going to be done.
Yeah.
They want the lockdown to be done by like the start of March, and then it's kind of like, well, everybody's going to be itching to go out and do whatever, as opposed to being like, oh, it's a bit cold, let's kind of stay in and watch
Mm.
WW84 or whatever. But I also do think I think this is actually more important movie than WW84, because this kind of is going to tell HBO Max that if you can put a film like this on your platform and you get a crap load of subscribers joining, and you also get everybody talking about it and big downloads and stuff like that, then they're going to be like, well, this template works, right? So we're just going to put everything on this platform. I mean, they're kind of doing it anyway, but it will cement in their minds that like any film that is coming out, any kind of film that they think that's put in the cinemas, they're just going to be like, well, let's put it on this platform because it's worked for this, and it's basically if we can get these kind of numbers off something that is not really coming out in the cinema,
Yeah.
we can keep putting these tent poles out. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um,
Bad for cinema, that's for sure.
Bad for cinema, yeah, bad for cinema. But yeah, we'll kind of see whether cinemas can recover from that. I don't know. But to me, it is massively important, because if HBO Max think that this is going to work, then loads of these companies are going to start pulling their stuff out of cinemas, man. There's going to be like, well, why do we bother? Because we can put it out on our own platform. So um, yeah, and that's why you get a VPN advertised everywhere. You know what I mean
Yeah.
nowadays. So yeah, so guys, let us know what you think about the recent Wandavision episodes. Let us know what you think about the Snyder Cut. Am I being the typical cynical DC fan like usual? Like or is there something there to it? Is it, I don't know, whatever you think about it, are you feeling the same way as me or different? If you can email us on dcbsmarvelpod@gmail.com. Also go to the most active, which is the Facebook page, which is DCBS Marvel Podcast. If you want to break from DC and Marvel, why would you? But if you want to break from DC and Marvel and Star Wars, you can check out Ed's and Mo, who review other shows there
as
from
well as
their
still the
other podcasts,
DC and Marvel,
as well as DC's Marvel
Still
stuff
there.
there.
But yeah, talking at the movies, guys, check that out on all podcasting platforms. And to see the video of this and the other show, one I do, go to Voltron Network on YouTube. Give us some.
Yeah, guys, we need more subscribers on that. I want all you guys who are subscribing to the Facebook page should be on that. Why not? Why are you not on there? So you should we should be having much higher numbers on there. So definitely go subscribe to that, and then see. We'll be trying to. I'm recovered now, so we'll try and bring you some more regular content, and also with the updates of Wandavision. I will promise to catch up there for next time for you guys. Until then, guys, we'll see you again next time.
Later.